Picture this. You're a crow, stealing fries, judging pedestrians from a power line, minding your own business. Then a massive two-legged creature reaches down and peels a tangle of plastic off your leg. What happens in that walnut-sized brain? Does it register? Or is it just noise? Sounds like an easy question. It isn't. This is one of the strangest corners of animal science. And by the end, you probably won't look at wildlife the same way again. For most of the last century, mainstream science treated animals as response machines, stimulus in, behavior out, no comprehension underneath. In the 1890s, a researcher named Morgan formalized the bias. Never explain behavior with a complex mental process if a simpler one will do. A dog cowering after wrecking your couch wasn't feeling guilty. It just learned your scowl predicts trouble. That caution had a place. But the pendulum swung too far. For decades, suggesting animals might track intentions was treated as unscientific. Then the data started contradicting the dogma. Take bottlenose dolphins. There are dozens of published accounts of wild dolphins actively seeking human help. In 2013, off Hawaii, a wild dolphin swam straight up to night divers with a fishing hook buried in its fin and line wrapped tight around it. It didn't flee. It singled out one diver, Keller Laros, and held still while he freed it, even repositioning its own body to give him a better angle. A wild animal with zero history with this human somehow arrived at something like a judgment call. This one might fix it. That's not reflex. That's evaluation. And accounts like this exist across the globe, across decades. Now crows and ravens, maybe the strongest case of all. They use tools, solve multi-step puzzles, recognize individual faces, and hold real, socially transmitted grudges. In a famous University of Washington study, researchers trapped crows while wearing a specific mask. Months later, crows that had never even seen the trapping, only the mask, mobbed the wearer. The information had spread. Crows gossip. They build reputational profiles of humans and share them. They remember kindness too. People who feed crows regularly report getting gifts back: buttons, glass, trinkets, left exactly where the food goes. That's not hoarding, that's reciprocity. If a crow builds that kind of social model of you, there's no reason it can't file "this human helped me" the same way. The skeptic's objection deserves airtime. Maybe none of this is comprehension. Maybe an injured animal is just too exhausted to flee, and stillness has nothing to do with trust. Fair, and sometimes true. But researchers studying pro-social behavior, helping that isn't reducible to self-interest, have found patterns hard to explain away. Elephants have been seen freeing herd mates from mud and moving carefully around injured humans instead of stampeding, sometimes staying nearby. Wild elephants have also been seen covering human corpses with branches, the same mourning ritual they use for their own dead. That's not self-preservation. That's something close to empathy, extended toward a species they have every reason to fear. But feeling something toward humans and recognizing help specifically are different claims. A Japanese team tested this with wild-born capuchins. A human either helped or blocked a monkey reaching for food, while other monkeys watched. Later, those bystanders were offered food by the helper or the obstructor and overwhelmingly chose the helper. Here's the key part. When bystanders watched a human obstruct a total stranger, they still refused that human's food afterward. They weren't tracking personal history. They were making moral judgments based on how a human treated someone else entirely. Here's what feel-good clips never mention: tonic immobility. When a wild animal is trapped, a flood of stress hormones can trigger an involuntary shutdown. Stillness that looks like cooperation, but isn't. Rehabilitators say there's a real difference between shutdown and genuine settling. Breathing changes, muscle tone changes. The animal leans into contact instead of enduring it. One raptor rehabber described birds that, near release, turned toward her footsteps specifically, not other staff, not strangers, because she'd consistently represented safety. Then the case that stops everyone cold: humpback whales. In December 2011, off San Francisco, a humpback was found entangled in crab trap lines cutting into its mouth after hours of struggle. Divers spent over an hour freeing it, working around an animal that could have killed any of them with one movement. It never moved against them. When the last line was cut, the whale circled back and approached each diver individually, slowly. One described a deliberate, gentle nudge. Another said the whale held its eye level with his face, and just stayed there. Marine biologists still debate why, but the whale treated individual divers differently instead of reacting to the water uniformly. So why would wild animals recognize this at all? For most of history, a human near a wild animal meant danger. The likely answer? Social intelligence is general purpose. Species living in complex groups, dolphins, elephants, primates, corvids, constantly need to read intent within their own kind. That machinery, built for reading calm posture, seems to transfer to us too, because those signals aren't species specific. A dolphin reading a diver isn't doing something miraculous. It's applying an ordinary skill to an unusual target. Now the limits, because they matter just as much. Some animals never relax in human care, ever. They stay at maximum threat response and bolt on release day. That's not failure, that's a wild animal doing exactly what it should. There's a darker flip side too. Some animals become too comfortable around people, and that habituation follows them into the wild, making them dangerously approachable to humans who don't mean well. That's why serious rehab work deliberately limits contact, using barriers and puppets instead of bare hands. So why does this matter to us? Because it touches something deep. Whether kindness has a currency that crosses barriers we assume are absolute. The evidence, imperfect and still accumulating, leans toward yes. Not universally, not identically to human emotion, but in real, measurable, repeatable ways. The crow remembers your face for years. The dolphin repositions its body to help you help it. The capuchin refuses food from someone it watched be cruel to a stranger. The whale circles back for eye contact. None of that is nothing. Every encounter you have with a wild animal adds to its data set on what humans are, and those data sets aren't private. They spread through corvid networks, elephant herd memory, young animals watching adults. So when you move a turtle off the road, or slow down for something crossing your path, you're not just doing something nice. You're leaving a trace in a network you can't see. And somewhere out there, something is watching, filing you away.